Dear educators, a very warm welcome to Viewpoint, an all-new initiative from teachertribe.world. A continuing effort to engage teachers in meaningful ways and to create platforms of expression for educators across the world. Viewpoint will be one platform where all you educators come together, share your thoughts, express your feelings, and debate over your viewpoints. Presenting this is a noted and popular host, Miss Rashmi Furtado, perhaps not needing an introduction to many of you, as she has been a prolific quiz host over the last decade, co-hosting programs like the Tata Crucible, the RBI Quiz, TCS Inquisitive, just to name a few. She is also the co-founder of Teacher Tribe and has created this platform over the last many years into a meaningful arena for teachers to interact. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly delighted to present before you your host and anchor, Miss Rashmi Furtado.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first semi-final of the World Teachers Debate Viewpoint, conceptualized by teachertribe.world. Teachertribe.world is engaged with teachers for over a decade now and engaged with all you educators with an essay writing competition, a poetry competition, photography, and of course, the quiz that has been going on for 5 years, and we are going to start the 6th edition now. With all of this, we thought it's time for us to extend the entire experiment that has been going on and move to a debate contest for all you educators. Of course, we may not have heard about debate competitions for teachers, but we thought it is time for us to try something new with all you teachers who are ever enthusiastic about anything we come up for you. So let's move into the debate itself. We have 4 semi-finals. Of course, we had many entries that came in. You had your videos that you had sent in. And from those videos, there was a screening process that happened. And after the screening process, we have shortlisted candidates who have moved into 4 semi-finals. From each of the semi-final, we will have a winner who will move into the grand finale of Viewpoint Season 1. Let me quickly tell you about the other partners that we have had for this particular debate. Viewpoint is brought to you by Teacher Tribe in association with Grey Caps, with Global Forum for Teacher Excellence and FindTeachers.in. All the forums that constantly engage with teachers to improve the quality of education and also to help all of you to find new opportunities. Time for us to move into the debate itself and time for us to introduce our finalists to you. So let's see who they are. Our first finalist for the day, joining us from Vadodara, Gujarat, from Cygnus World School is Madhavi Mangat. Our second finalist is also from Vadodara in Gujarat, representing Navrachna Higher Secondary School, Sapna. We have a huge representation from Vadodara this time. Our third contestant is also from Vadodara, representing the Navrachna Higher Secondary School, Sama, Suchitra Metar. Moving on to our next finalist here today, from Bengaluru, representing the Brigade School is Vinoda Rao. Moving on to our final contestant of the day, from Chikmagalur, the beautiful, picturesque Chikmagalur, representing the Amber Valley Residential School, Dinkle. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's semi-final, we have teachers, all of them are teachers, but we have people from the leadership representing themselves here as well. We have vice principals, we have dean of education, and other teachers who have taken part in the semi-final. Why am I making a mention of this? Often, we human beings tend to hide behind the excuse of we don't have a lot of time, we have a lot of work, we're extremely busy and no bandwidth. But when people from leadership make time and put in their effort to take part in engagement and activities like this, it makes a huge difference for everyone else in that school. It becomes a huge point of motivation. So I urge all you teachers to take part more in such activities that not only Teacher Tribe, many other platforms are organizing just for you. On that note, let's start with the first round of the semi-final, me in 30 seconds. Here we go. All right, as the round suggests, I'm guessing you already know what that is. The teachers here have to introduce themselves, but there is a slight catch. The catch is that if they had to advertise themselves or advertise about themselves, how would they do it? And you do realize that when it comes to advertisements, you don't have a lot of time these days. So 30 seconds is all they get to create that impression in the minds of our judges and all of you. Let's start with Ms. Madhavi. Go ahead, ma'am. Your 30 seconds of time starting now.
Salam, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam and Kemcho. I give you an MBBS, PGD, MLS, MA, BEd, somebody who's dabbled in clinical research, marketing, CSR, writing, proofreading, language services, administration, teaching English and life skills, training teachers and training for orations. A creative madhouse with an IQ of 130, bustling with ideas and energy. If you're looking for a friend, philosopher, co-learner, somebody to talk to, somebody who wants to listen to you, who can make you laugh, share stories, experience humor and warmth that touches your heart and soul and makes you smile, this is the woman for you, Madhuri Mangal.
Well, short and sweet and confident. That was at least my impression of the way she introduced herself. So let's move on to our next finalist of the day. Moving on to Miss Sapna. Go ahead, ma'am. Your 30 seconds of time starting now.
Hello everyone, I'm Sapna Iyer and I'm an educator for 20 years now. I'm pursuing my PhD from MS University and I look up to a classroom which is inclusive. So I want a classroom where the mind is without fear, where the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments, into narrow domestic walls, into that heaven of freedom, my father. Let my country awake, let my country awake, let my country awake. That's my appeal, that's my wish. Thank you.
All right. Looks like we have poets or appreciators of poets here as well with us. So let's move on to our next finalist of the day. Moving on to Suchitra Mehta. Ma'am, your 30 seconds of time starting now.
Namaste world. I am a social science teacher, a walking mashup of tech talk, brainstorming session, and stand-up comedy. My hobbies include connecting minds which nobody sees and making serious topics sound like fun. Basically, I am a juggler in a Jurassic Park, constantly tossing and balancing lessons, and I am an AI, architect of idea, usually building bridges of knowledge wherever I can. And that's about it. And if you want an AI again, a human version, that's Suchitra for you.
All right. Well, I think we have some interesting finalists with us here today. Let's move on to our next one. Ms. Vinoda, ma'am, your 30 seconds of time to introduce yourself, starting now.
Namaskara. I'm Vinoda Harikrishna Rao with 31 years of teaching experience, and I'm currently the Vice Principal of the Brigade School, Malleshwaram. I'm passionate about language, learning, and leadership. And I believe that teaching is a happy and a wonderful amalgamation of vocation and avocation. Anyone at any point in time wants to consult anything about teaching or learning or teaching pedagogies, you can contact me, and that's Vinoda Rao for you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our final contestant here today, Dinkle, your 30 seconds of time starting now.
Bachendri Pal once said, keep your feet on the ground and your thoughts at lofty heights. As a teacher from a school nestled in mountains who adapts quickly to any environment or situation, this quote resonates with me a lot. Hello everyone, I'm Jinkal Adesha, an English teacher from Amber Valley Residential School. As a person, I will sit by your side and listen to you till your heart feels light. As a lifelong learner, I believe that learning doesn't just happen with talk, board, and interaction. Also happens when students sit and play and engage. I don't tell, I lead by example. Thank you, everyone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from experts or subject experts to architect of ideas to stand-up comedians to people who are extremely good with their language and know about the women achievers of our country, we have the entire combination for you in this semi-final at Viewpoint here today. So let's move into our next round and let's get into some interesting topics. Moving on to your point of view, here we go. You know who our finalists are. Time for us to challenge them with some interesting topics that we have set for them. So we have a few topics here for them. Let's have the topics on screen. All right. Very interesting topics if you ask me. Zero hunger, gender equality, climate action, reduced inequalities, quality education, affordable and clean energy. If you recall, all of them are part of our sustainable goals that that UN created for us among the 17 SDGs. All our contestants have to do is pick one topic from among these. It's up to them on whatever they want to pick. And then they have to speak about this topic. But the perspective that they need to take. What we have here today, the 5 of them, is the Council of Leaders. This is a council of leaders that will take important decisions for our world and all the countries in the world to follow. And these are the topics that we have given them. Let's see what kind of perspective and what kind of decisions they have made or they propose for the entire world and all the countries to follow. So let's start. I think we'll go the other way around and start with Dinkle. Dinkle, which topic would you like to speak on?
I would like to speak on zero hunger.
Zero hunger. Okay. So you need to remember that this, whatever you pick for now, for example, you have chosen zero hunger as the topmost priority for 2026 for all the nations in the world. And you will tell us in a minute's time why you believe zero hunger should be the topmost priority for all the countries. Dinkle, your minute's time on zero hunger starting now.
As members of the Global Council of Leaders, it is our responsibility to decide what the world needs most urgently. If I had to choose one priority for 2026, I would choose zero hunger. According to United Nations, over 700 million people worldwide are facing hunger. Over 26 million children under the age of 5 are malnourished, and over 1/3 of the world's population is food insecurity. This tells us that hunger is not Maslow's hierarchy of needs have taught us one simple truth. Food is the most basic things that human requires. So, as a person, if they are stuck in hunger, they're stuck in the survival mode. Think about it. Can a hungry child learn effectively? Can a hungry adult work productively? Can a hungry nation even pursue education, inequality, or climate change? Global agencies like World Food Programme shown us that food insecurity is closely linked to migration, conflict, and social unrest. In other words, hunger does not just weaken individuals, it weakens nations. If we want sustainable progress, we first must ensure survival with dignity. Therefore, zero hunger is not just one sustainable goal, rather, it is the sustainable goal that makes all the other goals achievable. Thank you.
Well, all you management students out there, this is a school teacher for you who's speaking about Maslow's need hierarchy theory. So I think we need to change our perspective on our school teachers. Well spoken there, Tinkle. Let's move on to our next finalist. Ms. Vinoda, ma'am, which topic would you like to speak on?
As a council of leaders, I would take the topic of quality education. Yeah, I would take up quality education because according to me, quality education is that one thing which is very important to establish the blueprint for peace and prosperity as decided by the United Nations in 2015. Now, if I have to go to quality education, I feel first of all, it is very important for us to have access to safer learning environments. And children and teachers should have access to safer learning environments, and where students from rural backgrounds or the marginal communities can have access to quality education. Another thing which is very important according to me is also relevance. Now, what you teach should be relevant to whatever has been taught, because we should not encourage rote learning. So when you talk about relevance of education, it should have skills which promote, which they learn, which develop the critical thinking, which promotes their problem-solving skills, and of course, it builds their understanding of the practicality. Another thing which is very important to me is equity. Now, equity is because of the resources which should be there, but especially the marginal communities and rural schools, we do not have that much of access to resources. So equity is important. Also, global cooperation. Student exchange programs, teacher exchange programs are very, very important to share the knowledge, share the expertise. That the students learn, go to another place, they learn, we bring in the learning. So also teacher exchange program is very important because that establishes, they learn from other places, they bring in certain inputs, and they can use that for global cooperation in their schools. So it is very important for us, these 3 to 4 points, what I've just expressed, the access, the relevance, the equity, and global cooperation. These 4 points, according to me, will reduce the inequality, will reduce the complexity of education, and it will establish definitely the quality education across the globe.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to our next finalist of the day. Moving on to Ms. Suchitra. Ma'am, your minute's time. First, you could tell me what topic you would pick for this round.
Sure, ma'am. I would be taking reduced inequalities for this topic.
Wonderful. So, your minute's time starting now.
Okay, honorable and respected council members, I would submit reduced inequalities to be prioritized for the next 2026. UN SDG report states that the top 10% of earners have been taking half of the natural wealth of the world, and in India, it is 77%. This divide is not abstract. It undermines the progress of hunger, climate action, and education. Imagine a world where a child's future is not determined by the region, the religion, or the income he or she is born into. But instead of that, it is on the basis of talent and their dreams. By prioritizing SDG 10, growth becomes inclusive, opportunities will be shared, and peace will become sustainable. We can make a fairer and a stronger and a truly united world when we bridge this divide of inequalities amongst the world. So I think SDG 10, that is reduced inequalities, should be prioritized for 2026.
Wonderful. Thank you, ma'am. Let us move on to our next finalist of the day. Moving on to Ms. Sapna. Ma'am, which topic would you like to speak on?
So if I were a part of the council, I would have chosen reducing inequalities.
Go ahead.
By reducing inequalities, because if we want to achieve all the other SDGs, we have to first address inequalities. The inequality will seep in silently. So, and it will seep into the system silently in a way that it weakens the system. So we need to curb the difficulties which it is because of which we have inequalities. So we have to give the access for education, healthcare, opportunities, dignity, and we all know that COVID-19 has hindered our progress. So we have to come up with solutions that will help us bring everybody on one page. And if there is inequality, if inequality persists, poverty will deepen, the gender gap will increase, the vulnerables will not be a part of climate action, and access to education, of course, becomes a privilege more than a right. So for 2026, I definitely feel that we must focus on three aspects. One is inclusive policies, fair representations, and equal opportunities. So if we focus on them, we will be able to achieve this target, this goal SDG 10, that is reducing inequality. So finally, I would like to say that when we say true growth, it is not for few, it is for all. It is for dignity for all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us now move on to our last finalist on this round. Dr. Madhavi, go ahead. Which topic would you like to speak on?
I think my smile should tell you SDG 10, reduce inequalities.
Go ahead.
Okay, so all the 17 SDGs or targets are for all the nations. They are expected to be on the same starting line and the same finishing line. This sounds like a problem. Also, will all the nations will they get a chance to run this race, or will they even know about this race? So that is the reason I push for SDG 10, which is reducing inequalities to provide a fair chance to all the nations in all the aspects. Very beautifully, Dinkle has quoted quite a few statistics, as well as Suchitra ma'am has also quoted statistics to support this issue. And one more thing, when Vinoda ma'am was also talking about another SDG, the most important word that came out was reducing inequalities and offering opportunities to all. That's why that becomes the basis of anything that we want to achieve, that the opportunities are available to all. As Sapna ma'am has rightly said, I would just like to reiterate that when we are talking about reduced inequalities, we are looking at uniformity and opportunity and equality in terms of the fiscal and social policies, the regulations, the aids, the governance that goes on, the inclusion in the society and the community. There should be an availability and access of everything that we are planning along or apart from the SDGs that the United Nations have spoken about. For this, we will have to start with an understanding by the governing bodies through brainstorming, through revising policies, and strict implementation at the center, which has to trickle down to the roots. So as a member of the Council of Leaders, I would like to start with the summit of the national heads to take the first step towards brainstorming and see how the reducing of inequalities, which is spoken so easily, will actually be implemented at every stage to make it a success. Thank you so much.
Lot of interesting perspective from our finalists there, ladies and gentlemen. But now it's time for us to move into a little more interesting round where we would probably see a bit of a fight among our contestants. Let's move on to our next round, which is called War of Words. Here we go. As the round suggests, this is the war of words. This is where the debate happens. So let's take a look at the topic for the debate that I have for all of them, coming up on your screen. All of India should function as one entity, and individual states should cease to exist. Even a possibility of something like this seems extremely interesting to us, even when we give it a thought. But I'm very interested to see what kind of points of view our finalists have. Again, we're going to have a little bit of a different change here in terms of the format. Each of you will get a minute, and a minute only. If you cross a minute, I will stop you to express your thought on this topic. And after that, after all of you have completed with your 1 minute presentation, we will move into a debate of 6 minutes. We would appreciate if you can arrive at a conclusion towards the end of the debate. However, we will not hold it against you if you do not arrive at a conclusion. Okay? We just want to see if you'll be able to arrive at a conclusion, because the topic is extremely interesting. We wanted to see what kind of conclusion we would arrive at the end. So let's start with Dr. Madhavi. Dr. Madhavi, you have a minute's time. Your minute's time on this topic, Dr. Madhvi, starting now.
Basically, I envision an India that functions successfully. So forgive me if what I have to say may not go exactly with what you may have imagined. The present federal government promises to preserve our national diversity, ensure local representation, allow distribution of power, divide the administrative burden, and assure stability. Now, what I propose is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. A single party government with zones and not states based on language or the smaller distribution system that is working right now. If the workers of the party work to develop a small subzone or zone, they grow and rise. So what we have is a proper governance of the smaller zones and the entire country. There is a national identity and unity rather than having these regional or party divides. There are no states who are fighting for roads or rivers because, well, they belong to the nation. The administration and economic governance, including the law and trade, will also become central with uniform common laws that govern all these zones. This will ease and quicken implementation. The single party will also decrease corruption.
Dr. Madhvi, I
and
will
the
have to stop
development
you.
and
You have
progress
exceeded
would be
your
uniform.
minute's time
Thank you.
already.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our next finalist of the day. Ms. Sapna, this is your time to present your individual perspective on the topic. Your minute's time starting now.
Okay, so I respectfully disagree. So now that we are talking about this, I want to give you a perspective of an educator. When I'm in the class, I look at children as they are a different identity, right? Every child is different, so every person is different, every class is different. So one strategy that works with one class will not work with the other class. Similarly, a strategy that works with one state will not work with another state. So we cannot have a one size fit there, right? So we need different culture. We need people people have different culture, different ways of living, different needs. So we need to consider all those needs. We need to think at the larger picture. We have to look at the larger picture, and we cannot use the same template for all the states, right? So we cannot think about centralization. We are a young country with a huge population. So we cannot work from one center. We need to have states. And we have collaborated in various projects. We have been doing that. We have our prime
Ms. Sapna, I will
ministers
have to
and
stop
ministers.
you there. You have crossed a minute's time
Yeah,
already.
example.
You can continue your perspective in the debate round. All right. Let us move on to our next finalist of the day, Ms. Suchitra. Time to present your views. Your minute's time starting now.
India's strength is not uniformity, it is diversity. The Constitution also mentions us as a union of states. This design is deliberate. Local governance always try to give unique requirement fulfillment through their policies and programs. Kerala's healthcare does not fit into Rajasthan's economy. Federalism also ensures that the concentration of power is not there amongst few. And democracy is always vibrant and responsive. Economically also, they're striving for innovations according to their expertise or their innovation or their specialty. Assam's tea, Karnataka's technology, and Punjab's agriculture all together comes and make a beautiful mosaic. 28 states and 9 union territories are not solo singers. They are choir who proudly sings Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, To Sur Bane Hamara. So it's India all together coming in with their unique identity of culture, tradition, language, and cuisine. That's what India is all about.
All right, wonderful. Let's move on to our next contestant of the day, Ms. Vinodha. Ma'am, your minute's time starting now.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if all of India should function as one entity and individual states should cease to exist, since I've already spoken about quality education, for me, the first priority is national curriculum, framing of the national curriculum, where across India, the curriculum is the same. Maybe it could function as one board. Mobility of teachers could be there without any ease. Students could even if the parents get transferred, I was thinking from that point of view, even if the parents get transferred, students are not affected. Children are not affected in schools. They do not have to learn the languages. So there could be only two languages across India. There should be Hindi and English. And that is all that they have to learn. They can learn more of technical subjects, which gives them hands-on experience. Now, we know about industrial visits for college students. So we could have this technical kind of a know-how for students who also participate to go to industries for experiential learning or field visits across India. So they can participate. Schools also should have that. So mobility of financial power also and also a unified curriculum will make it very strong if India should function as one entity, and of course equitable resource distribution.
I will have to stop you. There. Let's move on to our final contestant for this round. Dinkle, your minute's time on this topic starting now.
So I do not agree that individual states should cease to exist. India was designed as a union of states, not as a single central unit. Article 1 of the Constitution clearly says that India is a union of states. Again, it was chosen intentionally because the Constitution Assembly sees that governing a country of India's size, population, diversity through complete centralization is never practical or even democratic. Practice, most services that affect people's daily lives, like schools, hospitals, food distribution, welfare schemes, they are implemented by the states. Again, data from bodies like Niti Aayog, even National Family Health Survey, they consistently show that outcomes differ across states because, again, local conditions differ, right? Their capacities, their needs differ. If states are removed, decision-making will move further away from the people. Accountability will weaken. And again, this one-size-fits-all policy will become the norm, taking us further away from the democratic principles that the Constitution talks about. So solution is not removing states, but obviously strengthening the coordination between the center and the states. Also giving the state the capacity to take the constitutional framework.
I will have to stop you there. Yes. All right. So lots of interesting perspectives, or rather lots of interesting thoughts supporting the stand that the teachers have taken. And we will time you to 6 minutes, and after that we will stop you. Ladies and gentlemen, they have presented their individual perspectives. Now it's time for them to debate on the topic. All of India should function as one entity and individual states should cease to exist. However, I will not be interfering in this entire debate, and I will leave it to them to steer this entire debate. So let's see what happens. Dear teachers, you know what the topic is. You know you have 6 minutes of time, and your time starts now.
I would like to go with Vinoda ma'am, what she had mentioned about the NEP program that must have Hindi and English as a language. Though I agree that these two languages are the medium of communication for major part of India, I still believe that mother tongue is the language which allows a child to understand concepts much better. So I feel that every state should allow their language to be spoken and also included in the curriculum. Also, when we are talking about all of India as different states, right now we are all harmoniously welcoming Dinkle. Though she had some network problem while joining in, we just remain patiently enough to Dinkle to pour in her views and her perspective. And this can only happen in India when we understand what is the problems amongst all of us. So that's
I'm sorry, I don't think that is a relevant example. Sorry, Suchitra ma'am. I think it is about people being courteous. It has nothing to do with the kind of government that we follow. And just that I started mentioning, Sapna ma'am said that we have to look at the larger picture. So I think we have to start looking at it from the center perspective. Everyone has, we respect the views that everyone has given. But Suchitra ma'am, like you also mentioned, 79 years this year for our independence. What has the so-called constitution and the present system helped us achieve in 79 years is something we need to objectively look at. I'm not disrespecting the present system or the diversity which remains to be the identity of India. But I think when we are talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam on one side, on the other side, we are still broken into parts and our own family members are existing as separate, units. So I think we should start, stop having this frog in the well mentality. Look at India from outside, look at the world, learn from different countries and different systems that are being implemented. And I think it is not a problem if we revise our constitution after 79 years, because already it is high time we make it a little more contemporary. These are just my few cents on this topic.
When I talked about the national curriculum framework, I had in mind that I wanted to tell you that, because see, when we talk about streamlining of resources, for example, if you follow these NCERT textbooks, I'm just giving you a simple example, not trying to highlight any textbook person as such. But when you talk about NCERT books, or you talk about any board for that matter, which gives importance to skills, which gives importance to critical thinking, problem solving questions, and it gives and any board which gives children to prepare themselves for any examination, entrance examination, I think such questions and such syllabus should be that kind of syllabi should be included, and that is possible when there is a national curriculum framework. I talked about mobility of teachers. Teachers, if they have to get transferred, or if certain their organizations transfer them to any part of India, they will find it easy to adapt to those teaching methodologies, to use those pedagogies which they're already familiar with. Then language does not, it's not that to demean any state languages which should not be taught. It can be taught. But what is important is if the curriculum per se becomes more centralized, then that really India should then functions as one entity, because everything comes within it. Otherwise, there's a lot of differences between boards. You see different boards and their own rules and their policies, which not only sometimes, I should say, very often interferes with the schooling system. It interferes. Talk about the language policy. It comes in the way they talk about certain things are mandatory at some point in time. Certain language policies are not mandatory. Certain subjects to be taken. All these are things. Sometimes it comes by whims and fancies of governments. If that can cease to exist, then the federal government should take a very strong stance in that. So sometimes state boards, state governments can be very erratic in their decisions. Certain
I do agree about that.
So now here, I want to say that when we say that there were no revisions in the constitution, there were revisions. Even education was not there in the concurrent list. So we have brought in education in the concurrent list, and we have had policies, like we have 3 policies, 1968, 86, or you look at the new education policy. There are so many changes that have happened, and that is why, and we have got targets now. We have to finish, like if you look at 2030 target of SDGs, we are close by, and we have where we were and where have we reached. This is what we have to look at the gap. We have to look where we have reached, right? So there is so much that we have done. There is progress happening, and we are all progressive. That is why we are here talking about it today. We are thinking. And we have a system. Earlier, we did not have a system. So if you look at Aryabhatta coming up with 0, there were no language barriers. Language is not important, but they have come up with big concepts which world is now appreciating.
I do agree completely with Sapna ma'am and Vinoda ma'am. That's true that when we are looking at the skill management, and that's what has to be there in the curriculum. In whole of India, when we have different kind of skill segments in states and everything, if we can bring them together, it's good. Though what Madhvi ma'am has said about zoning them out, a little bit of everything here, that would help. But the diversity that India has right now, if we can bring down the inequalities between the societal groups, then maybe we can use them to our benefit. Yes, constitutional changes are happening in the constitution in various fields. Judiciary is going through a massive revamp right now. Public facilities are we are getting good health programs which is coming. It's all on the basis of the inequalities which existed in different states and are coming together.
Teachers, you have gone beyond your 6 minutes already. You've gone beyond your 6 minutes already. I will however give you 45, actually I'll give you a minute more to see if you can arrive at a conclusion, okay? You have just a minute's time, and at that time, if you do not have a conclusion, I will stop you. Please go ahead.
I believe that in all cohesion that we have done today, I feel that most of us believe that diversity is prerogative for India. It is there. It's good to stay because that's our identity. Maybe we can take all the good things from different states and different backgrounds and make it one together as an entity for India. But the diversity and the synergy that is there in different part of states will stay to just bring it all of us in sync. So I believe that all of us together can make a good bouquet.
Yes. So we have to have federalism. We should have federalism, and we should have states coming in. We should have collaboration of state and center to have better progress. Collaboration always works better and makes the world a better place to live in.
Absolutely. All of them are syncing together. It's not homogeneity, but it is harmony. That is what we are bringing into.
At the same time, states should not, they should not have a negative opinion of what the central government is planning. Suppose if it is the syllabi or it is across boards or it is the resource or the teachers, whatever is there, they should not negate it. They should not come in the way of.
They have all right, teachers, I will have to stop you at this point.
If you look at GST Council, you will come to know that they have been working hand in hand.
I will have to stop you.
That has
Sapna ma'am, I will have to stop you. I'm really sorry. You all have gone way beyond 7.5 minutes. I cannot keep going on the topic. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the first semi-final of the World Teachers Debate Viewpoint. Well, after that interesting debate that we had, I know they were not able to arrive at a conclusion, but I think their points of view were quite interesting. But now it's time for us to move into our final round of the semi-final. Coming up is the jury time. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning of the semi-final, I did mention to you that we have an esteemed panel of jury members here for this semi-final. Time for me to introduce them to you. Let me first start by introducing them to you, and then I will explain what this entire round is all about. Our first jury member of the day is Ms. Ekta Das. She is a founder of Small Wonders, an organizational well-being and workplace behavior firm. She works with founders and leadership teams and individuals to help organizations grow without stress or burnout. I think that is a very big requirement in today's world, because from education to any other system you go in, there is this problem of stress and burnout at work. She has over 15 years of experience across industries, where she's led 50 plus leadership and alignment workshops in fields like manufacturing, education, finance, real estate, FMCG, and so on. At Small Wonders, Ekta designs workplace rituals that helps move from a firefighting mode to a predictable and a sustainable mode for everyday functioning and to achieve the vision of the organization. If she were not a consultant, one might have seen her as a classical singer performing on stage. Well, Ekta, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really hope you have been enjoying so far, and we are very keen to see what kind of questions you have for our finalists. Let's move on to our next jury member, Mr. Tariq. Tariq is a researcher, a trainer, a writer, and a quiz host with over 2 decades of diverse experience in areas of academics, industry research, training, and media. He currently heads the Research and Analytics Division at ITW Consulting, a sports, media, and an entertainment consulting company. He also teaches part-time, instructing graduate and undergraduate programs at some of the foremost institutions in Bangalore in areas of strategy, finance, economics, and operations management. He has co-authored a book on finance along with National Stock Exchange, and this book is specifically for students, for school students, and it introduces concepts in economics and finance to them. He has also hosted many quizzes in our country, like the quiz with RBI, National Stock Exchange, Union Bank, and so on. He is an MBA and was a research scholar at the Fox School of Business, Temple University, and has attended the London School of Economics. He previously was the senior writer at National News Weekly, the Sunday Indian, and the social media editor for cricket website Wisden India. He loves his books and also enjoys certain specific TV shows, usually in the genre of comedy and also mystery, if I'm not wrong. So that is Tariq for you. Tariq, thank you so much for joining us here today. We hope you have been enjoying this semi-final thus far. Let's move on to our final jury member of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Varsha Prasad. She is a senior editor of teachertribe.world with over a decade of work experience in the field of education, specifically working with teachers in various capacities. She is also, she heads product development here at Grey Caps. She has created various products for school students, and also she brings out a magazine for teachers every month, and she's been doing this for the past 10 years now. She's a voracious reader and she loves good food, and she also is a huge Harry Potter fan. That's Varsha for you, a writer herself. Varsha, thank you so much for joining us here today, and we hope you have been enjoying the semi-final as well. So, dear jury members, the way it's going to work is that I would request you all to pick one of the finalists. You have heard them out through the semi-final here today. So I would request you to pick one of the semi-finalists, ask them a question. It can be from what we have discussed today in the semi-final. It can be something that is related to what they have spoken here today. What I mean by related is, for example, Ms. Minoda spoke on quality education. So if you want to ask something that is, revolving quality education, but not specifically what she's spoken today, that's fine. But related to the topics that they've spoken today, I would request you to stick to that. And with that, we will move across all the 5 contestants, and then we will know who is the one who has moved on into the big finale. Let's start with you, Ekta. Whom would you like to speak to?
I would like to talk to Suchitra.
Please go ahead.
Hi, Suchitra. I think first I would like to appreciate, it was an amazing point of view when you said Mile Sur Mera Tumhara. I mean, it was a goosebump moment for me. I think beautifully put. Just one thing, a lot of you spoke about all the other important priorities that we should take as a world and as a country, right? We didn't speak about climate at all. I mean, while there were related points, climate didn't become a big concern for any one of us. Is there a reason behind that?
Is it that question specifically for me, for all of us?
For you specifically?
Why I did not choose climate action? It was a deliberate effort, Ekta ma'am, that I did not choose climate. Is because though it is a very relevant issue right now, a lot of work has been done on a government level, on the school level, on a family level. Each one of us are very, very conscious about the climate action. What we are not conscious about is the small inequality that has been seeping inside our society. Climate action, even if you make a policy, it will not be accessible to all the vulnerable members of the society till the time we do not bridge the divide that is already existing in it. So this is one aspect which has been, I would say, kept aside, though we are all aware of it, but we have kept it aside and we are just looking at something which is being shown by the world. Interestingly, in every family, in every small micro societal members are facing inequality in diverse way, whether it is marginalization, whether it is caste, whether it is gender, whether it is digital accessibility, everywhere the inequality is there. And we need to bridge that together and bridge it back. I don't say that there will be zero inequality, but definitely the divide can be reduced. And therefore, I did not choose climate action. I chose something that is small and it is becoming a bigger crack in the society now.
So you want the society to be ready before we get to...
yes, ma'am. I definitely want them to be empowered before that.
Amazing.
Thank you, Ekta. Let's move on to Tariq. Tariq, whom would you like to speak to?
Okay, so my question is for Dr. Madhuri, and the point you made, ma'am, about dividing the country into zones and sort of doing a federal structure all the way up. So I'm curious to know, how would you decide on the zoning? Do you have any thoughts on what would be the basis for that zoning?
So what I essentially mean is that the identity of the states right now is on the basis of, say, language primarily, not that completely. What I wish to, when I mention zones, I mean is that we break up into smaller sectors, like certain places like Chandigarh, for example, or Navi Mumbai, for example. What they have done is they have started working and dividing into geographically, into I meant by the geographical distribution, so that when I am assigned to take care of something, I have a smaller area to take care of first, and then I proceed and move on. So that is what I had in mind.
Got it. Rashmi, permission to ask a follow-up?
Go ahead, Tariq.
Okay. But wouldn't that sort of like recreate the problem again, which is that how do you align everybody in the zone to like a larger goal? Because then it would become sort of a little random, would it not? As in, would this scale is what I'm trying to ask.
It would, like they have already mentioned, we have done a lot in these 79 years, which I have said. This is a change. Change always takes a little bit of time to implement. So I don't think that it is impossible, but it is not magic, as you have yourself pointed out. It will definitely need a lot of planning rather than just sitting and having a debate over here for 1 or 1.5 hours. So there would be a lot of planning required to see how it will be implemented, how the zones will have to be distributed, and what is the manpower also that would be required to take charge of this. So somehow what I have looked at is that whenever we are looking at things, we are all identifying at a very smaller level. We are looking very micro and our perspectives are kind of narrow. So what I am looking at is that individual identity of India becomes strong, and then India is broken down into smaller zones which are managed, which is not very different from the states we have. My concern is only the identity of the zone or identity of the state is something which makes me belong to the bigger piece that is India.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tariq.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Varsha, whom would you like to speak to?
Firstly, congratulations to all the teachers putting across such wonderful points. My question is to Vinoda.
Yes, ma'am.
You spoke a lot about education in all the 3 rounds. So my question to you is, if we say India becomes one entity, what would be the first change you would make in terms of education?
Okay, when India becomes an entity in terms of education, first is removal of various boards. Let it follow the national curriculum framework, one board across India. And then when we talk about we should do away with rote learning. As I already emphasized earlier, skill-based learning is important. The pattern of questioning, it is not only the teaching learning patterns, it is the testing patterns which are very important and makes the child prepared for real life experiences. So ma'am, if you see in the questions which are asked across certain boards, certain questions are only rote learning questions. Certain boards do not emphasize on practicality of education. And when a child who has not had enough experience exposing himself or herself to practical education finds it very difficult, even as simple as appearing an entrance paper. It could be a JEE paper or a CET paper. That is from the Indian perspective. So if there is a curriculum, if the teaching and testing patterns are more critical solving, problem solving questions, critical thinking questions, questions based on analysis, the child is prepared for a lifetime. Then it is easy for him to also develop into his professional courses. And that is what I want happening when we become centralized. As an educational institution, all educational institutions have to follow this across India. Thank you.
Thank you, Varsha. All right, Ikta, back to you. We have Ms. Sapna and Ms. Diggle. Whom would you like to speak to?
Sapna, maybe I'll pick her.
Go ahead.
Sapna, you spoke about, I remember in the second round, you spoke about reducing inequalities, and you spoke about inclusive policies. I remember there was a mention. Are there specific inclusive policies that came to your mind when you brought this point up?
When I was talking about inclusion, I was talking about inclusion in all sense. By now, you have heard me, so I mostly talk about compassion. I talk about inclusion. I feel for everybody. So that is how I look at things. So if there is a policy, if we talk about education policy, like NEP talks about inclusion. NEP brings in inclusion into the classroom, and it also talks about how a teacher should conduct the class, or how the students should be valued in the class. So not only about this policy, but in general, I want all the policies to think about everybody. That is why I'm talking about reducing inequalities. Everybody should be a part of everything. Like I said, that fair representation. So if there is a decision making, everybody should be a part of, at least somewhere a drop of the ocean. They should be there. They should understand and they should know. So we bring in awareness and we bring everybody to the same page. This is what I meant to say when I said inclusive policies.
Okay, amazing.
Thank you, Ekta. Tariq, moving on to you, we are left with Dinkle.
Yeah. So, right, Dinkle, I think during the debate topic, you were talking about emphasizing on diversity and why you feel the original idea of India is based on diversity, and that's what we're trying to uphold. So, would you have any thoughts on how do you make more people? I don't know what the best way is to put it. Identify or empathize with this diversity, because what seems to be the case is that a lot of people do not realize how diverse the country is, right? Because you compare it to a few others, compare it to other models, they are smaller countries and things like that. So, any thoughts on how do you make people understand the true strength of diversity?
All right. So I think in today's debate also a lot of us talked about education, right? But there are also other sections of the society in terms of economics. We have healthcare. So it is not just limited to education. I feel like when we talk about economics, see, there's the 3-3-3 perspective where the three largest earning states of India are, 3 times earning more than the three lowest earning states. So this comes in bringing in the point of awareness that we have to bring in the citizens of the country. How will that happen? That is going to happen with the leadership that is being taken up by the government, and they have to be the ones who educate the people that see this is the state of the world and this is the state of our country, where a student, or let's say a person from Bihar, okay, comparing to a person to a Tamil Nadu. So I was reading about Prabhu Chakrabarti and what he talks about it. He said, average age of a Bihari person is 19 and his earning is 35,000 in a year. That is according to 2020 data. So, and now looking at the person from Tamil Nadu, the average age of a Tamil Nadu person is 39 years old and his average earning comes to, I think it was around 3 lakhs per year. So see the disparity in terms of even earnings. How do we make the citizens of India realize that when we talk about something of uniform nature, we have to take in earning gap, we have to take in the education gap, we have to take in the language gap all together. So again, that comes from the responsibility of the government of India, is what my point is. Thank you.
All
right. Thanks, Dinkle.
Thank you, Tariq. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we have reached the end of the first semi-final of the World Teachers Debate Viewpoint. Well, we have one winner that we will pick out from among the 5 of them who will make it into the grand finale, the big finale of this debate. We have 4 such semi-finals, which means we'll have 4 winners who will move into the grand finale. So let's see who moves in to that big finale from this semi-final. For now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in this semi-final. Don't go anywhere. The second semi-final is coming up. Trust me, we have many such interesting topics and many, many interesting points of view coming up for you to enjoy and deliberate. See you in the next semi-final. You take care. Ladies and gentlemen, The winner of the first semi-final of the World Teachers Debate Viewpoint Season 1 is Ms. Suchitra Mehtar from Navarashna Higher Secondary School, Vadodara. Congratulations to you and all the best for the grand finale.